This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, top of the day to everyone, and this is, often we don't bring back one of our guests so soon after we've had them, but I knew that when we left off talking with Mike O'Neill and LinkedIn, that we haven't even hit the rest of the story. So what we're going to be talking about is really some of the rest of the story, some of the advanced things, some of the incredibly cool things that authors can do to build using LinkedIn. And, Mike and I always say that LinkedIn is just not for careers. There is a very aggressive methodologies you can use in moving ahead and really tapping in and being successful with LinkedIn as an author, as an influencer, as a top expert. And that's what today is all about. So, Mike, let's reintroduce you. You're the brains, the visionary, the CEO behind Integrated Alliances. You travel all over the world showing people how to rock and roll with LinkedIn. You're also a rock and roller yourself, and you sing and you dance. And you're going to be at the AuthorU Extravaganza speaking in August in Breckenridge.
Just how many times can we work and?
Oh, we can do it.
Well, an interesting point. I'll use this as a launch point for us, okay?
Okay. Right.
We're going to talk about the word and how we use it to find people, as we use the word or to find people, as we use the word not to eliminate people we don't want to have. So there's the launch right on in there. And
hey, well, Mike, a lot of people don't realize that when people are on the search tools, one of the key things they're looking for is the not. And don't waste my time. Don't throw the knots at me, right?
Yeah, so let's, this is going to be a more advanced sort of thing here, and I'm not going to describe the deep how-to stuff because that's our webinar. There's the visual how-to. We'll talk a little bit more about strategy here and stuff. And first of all, you think about I need to find my targets. I gotta find my customers out there. Well, who are they? Okay, there's a definition of that. And the definition comes down to a few things. Of all the companies out there and things out there, it comes down to a few things. The first one is, where are they located? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't sell to folks in Hong Kong. Maybe sell books to them, but I'm not going to market to them. Okay. So there's the first part. Where are these folks, right? Okay. Second is, what level in the organization are these people? Are these people like at the top, in the middle, at the bottom? Am I calling the warehouse? Do I call on warehouse managers, or do I call on folks that are more individual contributors, or maybe I call on financial people, that just have a certain, they have the word F in their title somewhere. So that gets us into job titles. So there's another element. So we kind of got where they are. There's their job titles, kind of what part of the organization they're at. You with me so far?
I'm with you.
So how many times do you think that the same person here who's selling something, who's pitching something, and we'll get into books in a moment. I'm being general right now. Calls on someone where there's just one person at the company, or they got 50,000 employees, or maybe they got 1,000, or they got 20. No. We call on companies that are small, medium, or large in some way. Okay, there's some way to measure that. Okay? And that's where LinkedIn falls now, because they used to be able to pick companies based on size, And you have to use Sales Navigator now for that. You can't do it in LinkedIn anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still linked in the company, just not linked in the product. Okay. Okay. We'll come back to some more of that kind of stuff here. So next up, you have to think about, all right, well, do I tend to work with newer companies, newer people, or folks that are more established? You know, there's definitely folks that pick the newer companies because they're doing startup stuff. Even though more folks with more experience can have that and stuff. You know, if you're looking for millennials, don't check the box that says 10 years of experience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But now we're getting into something that's Sales Navigator as well. So you heard me say this a couple times to the audience here, Sales Navigator. Mike, this is a LinkedIn conversation, and we're talking about Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is like Excel to Word. It's from the same company, but it's a slightly different product, many similar things. Okay, what Word is to LinkedIn, Excel is to Sales Navigator. And Sales Navigator is not free. Now we're dipping into your pocket, right? I'm going to discuss primarily stuff that we can do for free here. But when we get into the webinar, I'm going to get into the nitty gritty with Sales Navigator, because I'm going to show you screens, and just those screens just are not there in LinkedIn. So, but in terms of whether you're in you know, whatever part of the industry you're in the book industry out here, there's a bunch of other related industries to yours, right? I'm an editor, but I work well with graphic designers, and I also work well with folks who print and the authors themselves. There's an ecosystem that you have, right? I mean, you see it at AuthorU. That's why you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
AuthorU is about this ecosystem. And as an author, if we can find through the powers of those sorts of searches and those words and those things that I described, the folks that we should be connecting with, that can be resources for us, door openers to sell stuff, or people that have what we need. You know, if you're an author, you might be thinking about what book publishing goes well with having a learning program, right? Goes well with having a podcast. So through those sorts of words, we can find those sorts of people. And systematically, we want to get connected with them so that we have this free exchange of ideas together. So when you connect with someone on LinkedIn, you become a one, right? You're a one. You see 1, 2, 3 out there, you become a one. And that means that you can now message each other just back and forth, almost just like having AOL, Instant Messenger, just about. You know,
Yeah.
Do you do that with some folks? You go back and forth. You and I have done that, right? Back.
Yep, we do. Well, we do it on Skype a lot, actually, Mike.
Yeah. Well, I do it on LinkedIn with others as well. But you get that idea, right? That sort of interactive thing, and you can see on both platforms if someone's looking too, right? There's these little dots that say they're typing. So you can start to use the platform a little differently, right? Don't be surprised someday if there's like push to talk for audio, or there's desktop video from person to person. So these are some of the things that I speak about when I'm on stage, where I'm not just educating, but kind of talking about the future of where things are going. So when we're dealing with our ecosystem, we think about, well, who should I connect with and all. First of all, find 1 or 2 people, okay, in each category, in each book category of services here to connect to. 1 or 2. That's easy. Boy, you could provide a list of those to people even, couldn't you? So just
I do.
So there we go. So there's our list. So get connected there. Do the list. But then, all right, here's the best part, both especially with Sales Navigator, but in general in LinkedIn, but I'm pushing the big one here. You can see people just like them. LinkedIn introduces folks on the right, to the left, behind an icon, behind a button, behind 3 dots, people just like these. So now they're introducing you to, they're providing a pool of leads to you. Here's someone just like Fred. So Fred does book copywriting. I look at Fred, and on the right over Fred are people just like Fred. I should go look at them. And then guess what? When I look at them, there's someone on the right for them, and I can just go on and on there, as far as I want. So there's a simple, actionable thing here that doesn't require a screen demo, because the screen demo stuff, so that's webinar. Find some people, or get this list from Judith here. Get connected up with these people, because they're going to be gateways to other people in the book business that can help you.
Well, and one of the things that you certainly can do it with online. It was interesting, Mike. I had a conversation because on Saturdays, the first Saturday of the month, I have at my house what we call the AuthorU circles. And the AuthorU circles is that they can come and pick my brain, basically, in the morning. I have coffee ready. They got to bring a snack to share. That's the deal. And with everybody else. And I allow up to 15 people. And one of the things is that really came up from a lot of people is almost the pounding, because this is what the internet can do. People pounding, trying to sell things, and they didn't have that list, that resource, that there was a bona fide, already a checkpoint. You could see who people were and what they are versus the usual sales pitch hype. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where all the publishing predators show up. That's the problem when the publishing predators show up. And that's where I think that when you can do, I always like to do face-to-face, or you get on and you do a Skype, or you do, so you can do some connecting starting, so it's just not all the messenger without having another relationship involved. And I don't know if that's always possible, but I would think so.
Okay. Well, in our next segment, we'll talk about publishing. We'll talk about posting and taking advantage of our LinkedIn audience. Back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I have to do it. I know we're really kissing our first break here, but I know that for like on Facebook, that I've taken myself off of that instant messenger because God knows where stuff comes from. And it's just becoming interrupted for me. So I blocked it.
There we go.
And there we go. All right. We'll be right back. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. With me is Mike O'Neill. He is one of the top experts. Forbes says top influencers, social media, dealing with LinkedIn. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so we're back. We're talking about LinkedIn, really advanced LinkedIn, how you can take advantage of it, not only as the author, book creator, but really with your publisher hat on. Publishing is a business. LinkedIn is one of the tools that you can do to expand your business to the perfect buyer. Does that kind of sum it up, Mike?
Boy, that's great. That is great. And we're specifically talking about how it relates to folks somewhat related to the book industry. One level removed or so, folks of interest, is there a book in you sort of people, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they're related to the book in you, but also, where are these book buyers? So people that your book solves their problems, gives them their solution to take it to the cash register.
So let's use that as a scenario. That's our great jump into the next part of creating a search that's specific to a couple examples, hardcore examples in the book industry. We'll get into visuals of that a little bit, but philosophically, you mentioned publishing. So what are some great words from the publisher? Well, I'm going to take the publishing and put it on the side over here because that's the big one. From our customer audience. We're coming up on the time, aren't we, where we need to get a book together so it can be under the Christmas tree and be given as a corporate gift, right?
Mm-hmm. A lot of authors would love that.
So when does a book really need to be, in print and shippable in order to be under the tree, realizing that you've got to seed the clouds a little bit, right? You got to throw some samples around, right? When is that? Is that September, October?
Yeah, I would say, actually October, by the way, is one of the biggest book selling months. But October would really be the ideal time. A lot of decisions, corporations are different, companies are different, but they really start thinking of the holiday gifting because some of them do it tied into Thanksgiving, as you know, and stay away from the religious type of holidays. And they go into Thanksgiving, and we're grateful for you. This is our gratitude. We want to have this gift. So you've got to really have books to be able to ship no later, in my opinion, than October 1st.
Okay, good, great. So there's that. So that we got some runway time here now. Mm-hmm. So we talked about searching. Remember, we were looking. So in my instance here, my target audience are folks that head up sales teams. They got that sales navigator thing they got to do, and they head up sales teams, and they got all that good stuff going on. Well, I can find them with keywords, right? Sales manager, VP of sales, go on and on, right? I can find them. Okay. I may find that I'm already connected to many of them, though. Isn't that interesting? Over the years, I've accumulated a lot of connections. So have you, Judith.
Yes.
So other people here. They accumulated connections. They didn't know what they were going to do with them, but they were going to use them someday, and that someday has come.
Mm-hmm. So we have a book. We have a book with a topic. We have all our connections on LinkedIn, correct?
That's right. So we can start stage one here with reaching out to folks we're already connected to. And in the case of a book, we just might send to everybody. It doesn't matter. This isn't one of those things where it's only relevant to somebody. They can all share in our joy. Okay? You can all share. But some of them are going to care more than others. So if you have to filter, then we use our, sales manager, VP, whatever kind of thing we want to do to filter out from there if we have to. And let's say in this case that we do. Okay, our book is really of only interest to certain people. my cousin Betty that I'm connected to on LinkedIn. I'm using a weird phrase here, okay, but just my cousin Betty doesn't need to hear about that book thing and be encouraged to this or that. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to see the clouds. If you're specifically with sales managers now, that we want to give a free book to, okay, that's different than telling everyone about your book. Okay, the folks that are specifically the folks that might hire you, they're going to get a free book, and we're going to give them a little extra different message, right? So they've got a different list, and using the functions of Sales Navigator and tags, I can have a tag list that says these are my top folks to send copies to, but we don't have their address. We're going to ask them for permission to send them a copy, right? So we'll find them. These are folks we're already connected to. We're going to go to new folks next, folks we're already connected to, and just say, boy, I'm excited about this book, and I think it would really help your team because of these 3 reasons. These are 3 reasons out of the book, short, little, tight stuff. I'd love to send you a copy. Would you give me a postal address, and I'll pop one in the mail tomorrow? So there's a way to take advantage of folks you already have. The next step there, okay, are folks that you already know about, that you should be connected to, but you're not. For some reason you didn't take the time or think, well, I've been working with you for 20 years. Never thought I'd connect with you. I should be. Here, let's connect up. The next ones are the folks that are missed, that got missed in the process. Okay, that's stage 2. And in a lot of those cases, you've got a business card. Okay, you've got an email from them. They're going to be easy to find, even if their name is Bob Johnson, because you got more data to work with. You got something that came. So your inbox for email is a great spot. Your business cards, your event registrations. Judith, I'll bet you're not connected to all those folks that, or at least haven't tried to connect even with all the folks that attend your events.
Yeah, that's. If they're in my email, I'm connecting if they open it, right? If they open it. And that's how we continue doing it. But, I do have a question. I think that what we need to do, because you referred, a lot of the strategies and technique, Mike, you're talking about is using the Sales Navigator tool. Is that correct?
Yeah, some of the filters. Otherwise, you have to target companies of all sizes and all. So
here's what I think we need to do. We need to describe what the Sales Navigator is, how they get to it, and what it costs. I think that's really important to throw that on the table.
Yeah, I think that would be a good way to actually kind of work with this segment of our time here. So Sales Navigator, think about Microsoft Office. Okay, Microsoft Office is Word and Excel and a couple other things, right? Yep. So LinkedIn.com is like Microsoft Word. Everyone uses it. It's the base of everything. But some folks use Excel, and folks who use Excel tend to be folks that create lists, or they're financial, or they're salespeople. A lot of salespeople or entrepreneurs or business owners, start out with a CRM system called Excel.
Yeah, right? They don't think of Excel as a CRM system.
They don't. No. Google Sheets are the new thing because it's on the web.
Yeah.
And stuff. But it really is. I mean, it's more of a database than databases of 15 years ago were, and it's a free spreadsheet and stuff. But if you just kind of think about it that way, so Sales Navigator, just like Excel, is a different app than Word. Sales Navigator is a different app than LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. But they have a lot of similarities. You can go file, save as, or file, save as. You can click on the printer. You can click on the printer. You can do bullets. There's a lot of things similar to them. But they're made for a different purpose. And Sales Navigator is made for keeping track of people, for taking a subset of all the folks on LinkedIn, finding the ones that are best for you, for your business, for call it sales or relationships or however. But it tends to be that way. It's not a recruiter's tool. Okay? Some recruiters use it, but it's not a recruiter's tool. There are other tools for them. Right. And they use this so that they can take a CRM sort of approach. I'm going to save you as a lead, and you're on my lead list on LinkedIn. I'm going to save that company as an account. They're on my account list on LinkedIn. leads work for accounts, people versus company, that kind of stuff. And you can say, of all those leads I have, there's about 20 or 30 that really matter the most. And I'm going to add a tag to them. I'm going to add a checkbox called top prospect to all of my leads. And I'm only going to check it on those 20 or 30 that matter the most. It's there for all of them to be checked, but I've just got these 20 or 30 I want to be able to single out into a special list, a subset of a subset, so I can send them a message that's very specific. And that's kind of what we just talked about here. So we talked about tags and leads and lists and stuff. Of all the folks you might be connected to, there's a certain subset of them that might be worthy of a free book, and those are the ones we want to send a message to. I'll discuss in the next segment some automation things and stuff so that we can take some of the grunt work out of sending these messages off to people. We'll spend 5-6 minutes or so on what are some of the things we can do to take like a drill instead of a screwdriver and get that much more done faster, right?
Well, yeah, I think that what they need to be able to understand is, okay, so what do I need to have to click in, the filter, as we get into just the right amounts to shoot them out to? Because I really don't think a lot of people understand how to really mass market. I mean, you and I have talked about, for example, if you just use LinkedIn per se, the way you communicate directly with everybody in a group. As a manager, you have the capability of doing that once a week, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So you have that tool. So if you have a big, humongous group, it's like my AuthorU group, that our all commonality is we're into publishing and we're authors of some sort. Yep. So if I have something that I think that would be good for the author group, or for enhancing them, or a new tool or something like that, I can shoot it all out, and I know I'm in my target market. But if you look at your overall LinkedIn community, and like you have, 30,000 contacts in there?
Yep.
Something like that. All right. So, and they come from all walks of life, all kinds of tips and tricks and tools and all that. So if you're doing something on something, maybe you're absolutely irrelevant to 95% of them. But for 5% of them, it could be the hot spot that could absolutely make their year.
Yep. And we'll discuss micro-targeting in the next segment.
Yeah, and I think all authors need to understand the concept of micro-targeting. All right, with me is Mike O'Neill. We're talking about really making a living with your words. We'll be right back.
Is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All righty, so we are really doing some heavy duty, this is advanced squared marketing strategies, and we're talking about LinkedIn. And actually, Mike is introduced, we said the phrase multiple times, the sales navigator, and it's not cheap, but we're going to show you how to do it cheap. That's that. Okay.
Yeah, like a lot of things in the internet, you can try something for 2 weeks or a month or stuff out there. There's a little bit of try and buy, and unless you've gotten a free something from LinkedIn in the past, you can get a free month of Sales Navigator, and 9 out of 10 people can. So now remember, it's a free month, and you got to put a credit card in, and it's going to hit at day 30 or so. So I mean, and you got to be really conscious of that, all right, for good and for bad. Okay.
All of the above.
Yeah. I've had people have their LinkedIn account on. It used to be the default was, okay, and when I say used to be, like 6-8 months ago, if you didn't tell them you wanted to keep it, even though they had a credit card, they just shut it off. Can you believe that? Can you believe they did that?
Yes.
and I had to go back for my client accounts, and get their data restored too, because they put data in there over the 30 days, and now if they go sign up now, they got blank, right? So anyway, it's $80 a month. So it's $80 a month if you do it monthly. You get a free month, and we shared in our break here what I did for one of my employees here. We got her signed up for a 30-day trial. And using some of the automation tools that we're going to talk about here, I was able to crank out 125 invites a day for her for literally 25 days. I might have missed a day or two. So, and we had to ramp up to it. You got to start lower and get on up to it. But within a week or so, it's just 125, boom, boom, boom. And she's got 2,000 connections now, and she just used it for a month. So it's best to have, a plan if you're going to do this, so it's called this, what do they call it? Cleanse, where you take something in your body and it kind of cleanses you. And
right. Yes.
You're going to plan for that, right? If you're going to do a cleanse, you're going to plan, because your body's going to be a little different. You're just not going to be able to do the things the same way. Your life's going to be changed. And then all of a sudden it'll be better, or at least back to where it was. In this case here, for if you're pumping that much out, you got to be paying attention to your inbox. There's a lot that's happened. People are saying stuff. They're connecting and they're making conversations. So, it was. If you're going to do this and do this rapid thing here, be prepared to devote some time to what it stirs up. All right.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to say that it's what you're doing is you're trying to establish a relationship, and relationships need to be two-way. So you've got to be responsive and interactive. So this is now going to be your job, or you're going to have to make sure you dedicate a couple of hours a day to this. Is that not correct?
An hour. Let's just say an hour. I try to keep this really round. So I try to put our expectations in place because we're going to have some automation tools that's going to make it easier to do 2 hours work or 3 or 4 in an hour. Okay? Right. So we talked in a little bit of review about reaching out to the folks that we're already connected to first, and then the folks that we got already kind of know who they are, but we're not connected to now. And then stage 3 are folks we have no idea who they are. LinkedIn's going to introduce us for the first time. So when you're at this third stage here, there's 2 ways that it goes, 2 fundamental things. And our audience here will work best with the one that works best with LinkedIn, which is the people first approach. That means we put stuff into our searches and it brings back a list of people that work for all different kinds of companies, every which way, but they have whatever's in that search in common. They're all in Detroit, publishers in this industry, so much, whatever. Right? So there's that whole part. Okay. So when you single out a group of people on LinkedIn, you can apply this tag to them and then apply an action plan to that tag and say, well, show me all those folks I'm connected to and their publishers, because I want to send this message to the publishers or this message to the corporate buyers out here instead to offer them a book. And my message to the publisher is going to be different, right, than the message to a corporate buyer. It's a different message. Similar but different. And I wouldn't want to mess it up, would I? Have you ever done that where you sent the wrong template to the wrong person, Judith?
Never. I have never pushed the wrong button in my life.
So my God. You can do it times 125,
Mike, let me tell you, classy, years and years ago, I was a secretary to a stockbroker. And we're talking about decades ago, people. And I was, and I knew nothing about being a secretary, but I was desperate. I needed to work, I could type. And he wanted me to do a mailing to all his clients. Well, I did the mailing, but I forgot to put something inside the envelope. And 1,000 of them went out. This is snail mail time. And he came back to me and says, what did you do? And I said, well, I did the mailing you told me to do. And he said, you didn't put anything in it. And he just looked at me and he said, brilliant. People are calling me right and left wondering, what is it that you wanted to say, Al? Oh, well.
There's lemonade and applesauce and all those things.
Oh, my God. It was, I remembered that.
There's a few key points. We were talking about micro-targeting. Okay.
Yeah, micro-targeting.
The more specific your message that goes out to these folks, be it an invite or a message afterwards, any communication anywhere, quite frankly, I'm just a LinkedIn guy, so we're just going to talk about that right now. Mm-hmm. Much of this applies elsewhere. The more they're going to read it. The more concise it is, the more they're going to read it. Mm-hmm. Because when you're concise with someone, you show your respect the fact that they already know these things, many of these things that I'm telling you. I'm not speaking down to you. Concise is speaking up to people. Give me the lowdown. Show me, bottom of page 42. What does it say? Kind of thing. So, but when you're dealing with folks that you're already connected to, you can put folks on a sequence because I can send one and then another and another and another. Mm-hmm. That's kind of called a campaign. So you can get on a sequence, and these automation tools can help because you can pretty much, there's a little bit of setup like a printing press. You got to get things set up on the printing press, but then you can pretty much click go and let it go. Okay, and maybe you got to, so much for today and tomorrow. We'll print more tomorrow. Well, tomorrow we'll send more tomorrow. But with these tools, and I want to introduce the names of the tools, and I'll demonstrate these a little bit next week. Okay. The tried and true tool is called LinMail Pro, LinMailPro, LinMailPro.com. And LinMail Pro is like a community of people. There's a culture around it. I'm part of the culture. And I know the owners, and I recommend the product very highly. Okay, it's very, very granular. And I'm not going to get into the details of it, but trust me, I know my stuff, and it's very granular, and many of the advanced features of it, subtle little things, are really advanced features. Tiny little thing, oh, by the way, we can. Hey, that's a biggie. Didn't know how big that one was. For example, when they're inviting, they can skip folks that don't have pictures in their profile automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that nice? I don't have to pick them out individually. Just go on through. If you see someone that just has no pictures, skip on through them. They'll even update the first name a little bit. All these tools will. LinMail Pro will, as well as another tool I'll tell you in a moment. So if someone didn't update, their name is Roger Smith, and it was all lowercase, well, they'll put a capital R for Roger. Their first name, they put an asterisk for their first character of their name. Asterisk Judy or Star Judy. Star Judy. They'll take the star out and they'll just say Dear Judy. It's kind of nice, and you can decide how much today and then how much tomorrow and stuff like that. So the other tool, before our break, I'll talk about the other tool. It's called Ducks Soup, DUXSOUP, and I think it's ducks-soup.com perhaps. And it's quite similar. There's 20,000 users of the product there. There aren't 20,000 users of LinMail. LinMail is a very system program. I mean, it's for serious people. Okay, it works really, really well with Sales Navigator. But this Duck Soup product is more of a general purpose tool. And with it, you can schedule up your week and say just send on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and it'll send so many per day. 50 a day, 100 a day, or whatever. And it just, Wednesday comes up, it's here I come to save the day. Gonna send.
All right, so Mike, with these tools. I know we have a minute to our final break, but these tools are designed specifically for the LinkedIn and the Sales Navigator coming through that portal. Is that correct?
Yeah, they both work with both. And
okay.
They both work much better with Sales Navigator, and they're in this $15, $20 range a month.
All right, and do they have trial?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are all on trial as you play away with it. So for our listeners, once you've got some list to build off of. Let's say like Mike has 30,000 in his deal, and I'm just a kid. I have like 13,000. I'm just a little person.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but that's what I have. Right. So with that said, I could instruct it or program it easily to skip everybody without a picture. Make sure that we uppercase all their first names. And I would look for maybe a keyword in their descriptor. Is that what I'm looking for? And we're going to come back. You need to answer that when we come back. All right, we'll be right back. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207. Or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
You know, Mike, as you were talking and doing the corporate gifts, here, let me tell you about the light bulb that went off in me. Is that I've got a couple of really nifty gift books. One, my John created, called "Have You Ever Held a Mountain?" which is a fabulous gift book. It's inspiration. It's really a one long poem, but it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. And then I've got my really fun book, Snappy, Sassy, Salty, Wise Words for Authors and Writers, which really is designed as a gift to self, or a gift you give to someone who is in the writing deal. That would be an ideal thing to push out in the kind of campaign that you're talking about, to get people noodling, that maybe have writers in their gift list. Or maybe they just want to use it for something within their entire community to really push out, maybe make a special offer on it. So I'm thinking that way.
Yeah, let's peel through that a little bit. There's like 3 or 4 things going on at the same time here. So one of them is, first of all, we've identified in our existing network some folks that we want to send gift books to, a copy of our book to them that's signed, so that they'll want to buy a bunch of them and sell them to other people.
Exactly.
So that's number one there. So when we're asking them just for an address, and they're just going to respond back. And don't be surprised if they just respond back with 2 lines: the street address and then the city-state zip. Don't be surprised. Okay. There are other folks that we might send to that we're hoping will go to some place and click on a link and subscribe in, so they get on some marketing list of ours out there. That's a different bucket. That's a different bucket of people. And those are folks that you might give like a free ebook copy or the first chapter or the summary of it or some piece of the book, but they got to give their email address to get in. The first bucket of folks are just, please let me send you this book, please.
Yeah.
And it's got a letter that comes with it. That it's not just the book, but there's a letter that's handwritten at the bottom, not handwritten, but signed at the bottom, It says, I hope you really like the book. This is the kind of thing that goes really well with the keynote address. And the keynote address book, that package out there is something I'd like to talk to you about. And then one of the things that really helps is if you tell them to be specific, like, on page 133, there's some stuff at the bottom. I looked at your profile, I looked at your company, blah, blah, and I think the things that are of interest to you in particular are on these pages. How's that?
Oh, that's a hook.
To see, right?
That's a hook.
So I'll just kind of leave that out there as sort of a thing. There's a chance that I'll have something in this category come September. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the material we're talking about here works well in a book, and I've got lots of things. There's 400 slides that go with this that just are not written as a book yet.
Yeah. Well, not in an hour. You're not doing 400 slides. Mike's talking about. No. Mike's going to be one of our speakers, everyone, at the AuthorU Extravaganza. That's going to be held in the beautiful, beautiful mountains and with the little town of Breckenridge at the base on August 25th. And we're going to really get into the visual hands-on of what we're talking about. Okay?
Yes, and folks can meet me like in the lobby bar, and we'll go over specifics at a laptop and just hammer out stuff together. If you can get me in the hallways somewhere or something, we'll get real specific. In like 2 minutes, I can dial up your best search, and we can show you what it looks like. In 5 minutes, you're walking away with like, wow, I spent 5 minutes and look what I learned. My God. And that's how it's going to be. And there's lots of other folks at the event, too. I'm just a LinkedIn guy. But there's other folks at the event, too. Your book, your folks that do the cover art and stuff. In 5 minutes, little conversation with any of these folks at the event in the hallway just is like, wow, that was the whole trip worthwhile. That little bit that I wasn't counting on.
Okay. I believe that, and that's why, this is a side thing, but we do so much in Cyberland and via the internet where we do our webinars, we can do Skypes, we can do these things, but there is nothing like sitting down face to face and turning it around. I mean, I don't ever, I know it's easy but I can stay in my jammies and do all my marketing. I get that. And so once in a while you need to get out.
One of the other things in this category, Judith, are these peer groups, masterminds and stuff with 5, 8, 10 people around and stuff. That's a big new trend and stuff. A bunch of my clients are in that business, and they do a really great job. And they're sort of integrate between one-on-one and cyber and many. That's a trend that I see on the uptick, especially these masterminds that have very specific people as opposed to the first 8 people that signed up. These are people that were carefully recruited, collected like a fraternity almost. And I believe there's probably those sorts of things in the publishing and book industry where, you got really tight circles. They meet you and you turn them on to everyone else, right? I mean, you did that to me. You turned me on to the book publisher guy and onto the folks who did the cover for me and the inline editor and the graphics guy. I mean, just through you, I had access to everybody. It's like a Swiss Army knife.
That's my job. That's my job.
At the event, you can kind of do this a little bit for yourself. You can kind of meet these people that you're just talking about in person at the event and stuff. I enjoy, every aspect of it. I'm just jazzed as heck for August to come up.
Yep, I know. I think it'll be terrific. All right, so we've got just a few minutes here, Mike. So what can we do for them? All right, your script. Oh, you're showing me your sheet here. All right, so what else can we do to show them that? So they're going to learn about the Sales Navigator. So for all of you, Mike and I are going to be doing a webinar here next week, and it's on the 12th. And information, if you just go to the events page on either thebookshepherd.com, all the information is there, or on AuthorU.org. All the information is under the events tab without me reading a long URL or anything to go into. But it'll be live. Get registered even if you can't attend live, because we'll send you the replay. So we always want to do that. Okay.
Hey, well, I have some freebies for folks, and they can get ready for next week, or they can get ready for August with them. And there are
great.
3 great freebies. So we get to there from my website here. It's integratedalliances.com, www.integratedalliances.com. If you sit there for 10 seconds or so, a pop-up's going to ask if you want the freebies, or you can go straight to the bottom and get the freebies there. I have a 4-page cheat sheet for LinkedIn profiles, which is really relevant to this audience. That was our last call. I have one for Sales Navigator, which is super relevant for the kind of new stuff here, especially if you're going to get a free trial. You want the guide there, so you got all this knowledge for 30 days instead of finding out later. I wish I'd have known that.
Or stumbling through a few of them, which is what we often do.
Yeah. And then there's the third one. It's called the Campaign Info Guide that teaches you how to systematically go after your target market. Many of the things we talked about here. The campaign stuff is what we're going to cover a lot on the webinar next week. We're going to go over stage 1, which is folks we're connected to already. Stage 2 are folks we should be connected to, but we're not. We got their card, but never connected. And then stage 3 is the big one. And that's the campaigns where we don't know these folks at all.
So, Mike, before we exit, I know we just have a couple of minutes now, but before we exit, I want you to, this would be a good idea. I've been telling people, this is your reminder. We all should, what they do is they create their profiles and they never look at them again. I think it's smart for people to go back and revisit their profiles at least every 3 months to even change a few words around. Can you make some comments on that?
Yeah, here's what will inspire you a lot. Okay, this will inspire you. Think about your competitors. Okay, and do a search like on yourself. It'll find all your competitors and look at their profiles and see how you stack up. I look pretty good. Darn it, Or you may find that, you like how some other people look and you say, oh, that's kind of neat. He uses all caps over there. That was interesting. Or there's this little ski diamond in the profile over there. That's pretty cool. Or, oh, they have a phone number. I don't have a phone number. I should have one. Look at your competitors' profiles for ideas and see how you stack up. That'll inspire you. It also lets you know whether you got a little bit of work to do or a lot of bit of work to do.
So let me have a question. You just mentioned some people have a phone number in a profile. Is that a good idea?
It is, if you don't mind phone calls coming in from out of the blue. I try to have people email, or actually they go to schedulewithmike.com. Your audience can do this, by the way, www.schedulewithmike.com, and schedule a time. If you have to think about what's going to happen if you're busy. Where does that call go? Does it go to someone else pick it up? Does it go to a voicemail? Does it just ring forever? You hit on a good one there. That's a personal call.
Okay, so I think that's something to all look about, and how they're going to come in. And do you want to come in the middle of the night? The answer is no. All right, with that, Mike O'Neill, thank you so much for being with us for another hour. We look forward to being with you next week on June 12th for a webinar. And for those of you who have listened to this post, the webinar replay will always be on the bookshepherd.com's website under resources. So with that, we'll bid you adieu. See you next week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.